So if you're out in the hall, in the comments, make your way in here, we'll get started. Now, somebody made a comment when we first came in. They said, well, I guess we're here because we've got marital problems. And they were joking. But I said, well, join the club, because that's why we're up here. If you're involved in a marriage, at least one of you is a mess. Probably both. Because we're all broken people. We're trying to do our best to get through. And you know what? No one's perfect. But you learn from your mistakes. So we labeled this one, Learn How to Master Your Marriage. Because no one else, no one in the world can master your marriage but you. You can't change your spouse. You can only change you. And most of the time, I can't even change myself. It's got to be the Holy Spirit that does it. But we've got to be open to that. So learning how to master your marriage, whether you came for because you absolutely love tacos and that's the only reason you're here, welcome. I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed it. But I think most of us are looking just to get some tools. Now, like I said, we don't have all the answers, but what I do like to do is give people tools in their tool belt so when they come upon a situation, maybe they have some phrases, they have a new way to think, a new way to approach it, some tools to be able to handle that situation better. So this is a little bit more of maybe a workshop than just a teaching. And it has to do with all relationships, not only your marriage, but you've got, this is God's perfect plan. Part of me wants to go, that's a perfect plan. You take a man and a woman, totally different backgrounds, different upbringing, different thinking, different everything, and you're going to bring them together and make them one? Like, really? Is this going to work? But this is God's design. And, you know, we've been, like I said, we've been together 36 years. And we
Give you a peek into a car ride.
We've been down the road a few times. Now, we traveled for almost 3 years on deputation, halfway around the country and back several times. Traveled around Zambia, learning how to drive on the left-hand side, where everyone else is driving at, just by choice. So, you know, here's a scenario. Hey, hon, let's go to Eastview Mall. All right, hop in there. So listen, did you ever make that call to?
Yeah, I did. Honey, stop! Did you see that red light?
I see the light. You think I'm lying? All right.
You're not going to raise this guy, are you? Seriously?
No! Well, listen to his muffler. That's cool.
Yeah.
I bet you I can beat it. I can get it to the next place.
Did you call the kids yesterday about that issue?
No.
Well, I told you to call them.
Well, I didn't. I was busy at work. Why didn't you call?
I told you.
Fine.
Stop! Did you see the car? They're braking!
No, I didn't see the big red brake lights in front of me.
I really think
I'm driving. Let me drive.
Honey, I kind of want to go home. I don't really want to go shopping.
Yeah. Me neither. Let's go.
Scenario one. Anyone relate?
Who's driving? Usually the person behind the wheel. If you had enough faith to get in the car, let them drive. If you believe God is sovereign, let them drive. You do not have to be the co-pilot.
All right, ready? Scenario two. You would not believe what my mom did yesterday. I just came home from her house, and I was so frustrated. I try every single time to talk to her about this, and she just won't listen to me.
Well,
I'm trying to figure out.
You've got to tell her what to do.
Honey, I've tried. I just really wish.
No, you just do it. You don't try, you just have to do this.
But she actually seemed like she was listening to me this time. I really have hope that she's going to change.
Well,
She's going to do something different.
This is what you got to do. You got to go in there and you just got to tell her, listen, you got to stop acting like this. That's not acceptable. You just do that. You keep saying you're going to, but you don't. And then you come home and you complain about this.
I really just
it's
want you to
always the
listen
same thing. Okay. I am listening.
I'm sorry, I didn't get to talking about this anymore.
I am listening.
Sound familiar? Yeah. That's marriage, isn't it though?
we tend to go down the same path, and we wear this rut out that we don't even have to think anymore. We just speak it. I look at this as like you've got this little, I don't know, a little garden. People got these Zen gardens or whatever, all right? You smoothen out the sand or the soil, and it's all beautiful. Well, now all of a sudden some rain comes, and that first rain hits, and it doesn't, wherever it hits, it lands. But as soon as it begins to pile up, it becomes this little rivulet, and it drains off. Well, the next rain that comes, it has no resistance, and it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's what happens to our neural pathways in our brain. When we continue to act the same way, hey, nothing changes. It actually gets worse. So hopefully today we'll give you some tools to figure out how to change things. As we've been driving for years, we've learned a lot of things in the driving scenario.
Pretend I have duct tape on my mouth and I'm not joking. It's so much easier.
I do keep a roll in the car.
But I've learned to be a good passenger.
And even recently, I made a comment. She goes, "But I am better." So, honey, you are so much better than you were years ago.
Should we tell them some drive here tonight?
It's true, it was. Yes, I did find my keys and I drove. So our goal is really to help people become more intimate in every way. Intimate is closely acquainted, private, and personal. There's no one else on this earth that you're going to have an intimate relationship with than your spouse. Now, every one of us are at different levels. Some here may be saying, I don't even want to be intimate with that person right now. Because you're just, whatever's happened, you're infuriated and you're here because you've already signed up and you're just going to go through the motions. Well, this is the best chance for a good marriage you're ever going to have. I don't care what's happening. This is the only good chance you will ever have at a good marriage. Because if you don't fix yourself now and you remain broken, you'll never be a good spouse for anyone else. You have to fix yourself first. There was a couple I was counseling, not from this church, and a doozy. I am talking, I could sit for hours and just go, I don't even know where to begin. You guys are so messed up. And after several sessions, I said, enough! You have to realize if you want to change, you've got to change. Stop blaming each other. I said, today is the day that this marriage is over as I know it. They were shocked. I said, you have to have that attitude. I am not going to act the way I used to act all the time anymore. You have the freedom to change how you act and react. Every day that God gives you another day that sun comes up, you have a new day to reinvent who you want to be. It's up to us to take that and make these changes.
So we wanted to kind of go over, like, what is even the purpose of marriage? Like, a lot of times young couples are like, well, I think it's about time we want to start having a family, so we should get married. Like, they've been living together anyways. Our culture is so broken. So is the purpose for marriage just to be happy and have fun, for companionship, financial leverage, 2 incomes, 1 household? God has a purpose for marriage, and it is for intimate fellowship and communion. In Genesis, the Bible says, Genesis 2:18, that it's not good for a man to be alone. He made a wife, a helpmeet for him. So it is for companionship. It's God's plan for both physical reproduction with children, but also spiritual reproduction. Dan and I actually work better married than we did independently. We complement each other's strengths and weaknesses. Where I'm weak, he's strong. Where he's strong, opposite. Where he's weak, I'm strong. You can actually help one another, that synergy that you get in a marriage. It's a picture of Christ and the church. We know those verses in Ephesians 5, 31, and 32. And God says it's a great mystery. The whole thing of Christ and the church, comparing that to the husband and the wife. He calls it a great mystery that is revealed in our lives. Our marriages are holy ground. If we realize that we are walking together as one flesh in our homes, and we are typifying and showing the world the picture of what Christ wants to show through his church, it's holy ground, and we should not take that casually or lightly. And it's the ultimate sandpaper in life. We are learning to die to ourselves to benefit our spouse. The Bible in Philippians 2:3, it says that we're to esteem others better than ourselves. And it just flies in the face of our, like, I think I'm better than you. I don't want to concede. I don't want to give in. I don't want to.
Why would I treat her better? I'm smarter than she is. I mean, obviously, you know, and you're like, I don't want to do that. And it's an issue of pride in our heart. I mean, there's no one that loves me more than me. And it goes the same for every one of you. You all love yourself better, and God says, yeah, I don't want it that way. I want you to love your spouse more. And that's hard, but that is God's plan. Well, you take two people, you bring them together, and you say, okay, I want you to make a family, I want you to be a great example to everyone, to your family, to the community, to the church, and you show them what it looks like to be Christians. And you go, whoa, this is heavy, this is too much for me. We've got to stop and realize we're individuals, and we are not always at the same pace. We're not at the same place in life. Even though you're married, you're both raising the same kids, different jobs, different responsibilities, different emotional scars that you're dealing with. There's still things that will come up in an adult's life that happened as a child that all of a sudden something has triggered that thought, and now they've got to deal with it, and they're recoiling, and they're not where they are. We have to look at, where are you today? I want to give you this example by how we came upon this. For dates, I looked at my wife. We had gone to a marriage conference in Thailand. How many have been to a marriage conference in Thailand? That was amazing. We were allowed to go there for some other missionaries. And we finally said, just before we left, what do you hope to get out of the conference? Because we know a marriage conference, we're going to fight, right? You know, it's just the way it happens. What are your expectations? And she said, you know what? Honestly, honey, I want to go. I want to relax. You know, we've been busy in the ministry here. I just want to go relax. I want to meet some of our old friends that will be there. And I want to meet some new people. I want to meet some new missionaries. And I just want to have fellowship. And said, you know what? That's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking to make me better, you better, whatever. Hey, it is what it is. And we didn't have any expectations for that. Best marriage conference we've ever been to. They started up and said, all right, all of you go to the back of the room. There's a rope back there, and it has all of these different energy
tanks, sputtering along, comfortable, feeling energized and ready for anything.
They said, now, just to be honest, everyone go back there. You look over them all, and you stand on the one where you feel you are. And the one that was far to the left, empty tank, I could probably pick out the ladies.
All the new moms, all the
people with little kids over here. And they're like my tank is
exhausted.
empty. I feel like I've got nothing more I can do or give or put on my plate. And then it just
I went and stood firmly on the right side of comfortable.
She's like,
I was comfortable. I went a little bit to the, I'm not like that side of comfortable. I'm a little bit this.
Just comfortable. I'm excited, ready for things.
And then I looked over at Dan.
And I'm Mr. Safety. Okay, I'm like, let's not take any big risks. And I looked over everything, and I'm like, God, I have no expectations. But
He went right to ready for anything. I was about ready to kill him.
So I'm standing here, I'm ready for anything, and she looks over.
I looked at him, I'm like,
she goes, what? You're ready for anything? Are you crazy? I said, I feel
that's comfortable.
I feel good what God is going to do, because we've been praying, God, how can the ministry expand? What can we do to do more?
Kevin, you called him the week later to ask him to consider coming back to the States. Literally. That was on January 19th, you called January 25th. It was insane. I'm like, ready for anything, huh?
I said,
See? Comfortable, good, ready for anything bad.
I didn't mean that. I was not ready for that. So we want you guys to look over this and evaluate where you are personally.
And it will change each day. But at least if you get an honest gauge of where am I today, and your spouse, you can be open and honest with them. I'm just kind of down today, or I'm really good today. You know, just compliment one another.
You guys make your decision of where you are in that chart, and I want you to share it with your spouse later. And you know what? Absolute no judgment zone. When you're talking to your spouse, never judge them for how they feel or what they're going through. Because you're not in their shoes. You're next to them. You are not them. Let them be where they are. And when you know where you are and where they are, now you can begin to help each other communicate better.
So we did want to kind of make this feel almost like a workshop. So we are going to ask you to write down things on some blanks on your information sheet there. So be thinking of something that might have kind of rung a bell in your mind or been an idea of, you know what, I'd like to implement that as something we could try in our marriage. So what we wanted to kind of do is, you know when you're trying to lead someone to the Lord, you have to get them unsaved before you get them, you know, to understand their need for salvation. We want to kind of give you some thought-provoking questions that might kind of show you some places that could use improvement in your marriage, or some areas that you might not recognize are places that need some help. So, the first
question, and this is interesting, but this came up about a week ago with another couple. And it's a sensitive thing, but are there topics that are completely off the table to bring up with your spouse?
You're individually assessing yourselves.
Do you feel there's topics where you go, you know what? I can't even bring that up. I can't talk about it. Who are you going to talk about it with them? If it's not your spouse, why? Why?
The second provoking question is, can you have a difficult conversation with your spouse that doesn't end up in an argument?
Some people do not like conflict. Other people do not mind conflict.
I don't seek it out. I don't mind it.
She does not mind debating.
I like it.
I hate it. That's not a great scenario.
So he'll think I'm starting an argument, but I'm not. I'm just having a conversation.
I can hardly keep up. But those are two of the dynamics. One of the things that used to drive me crazy early on in our marriage, she would always emphasize, we're just so different. We are so different in every way. And I just stop saying that. Just what we are. I felt like it was an admission that we're not compatible. But she said, no, we're so different. But that's what complements. We complement each other. And I went, oh, now it's not like we'll never have a good marriage. It's like we're going to have a good marriage because we are so different. That's the way God designed it. Next provoking question. Can you be yourself with your spouse? Or do you feel like you have to act the way they want?
We're provoking some questions. We're supposed to do that as a body, right? We provoke one another with love and good works. So the last thought-provoking question is your marriage characterized by grace and forgiveness? Is there a culture in your home of grace and forgiveness?
Or is it, well, we put that behind us. We dealt with it.
More bumps under the carpet.
Did you really get this behind you, or you're just going to ignore it and move on
So
and build a wall?
we have to be really clear to assess where we are today and what we really want in order to achieve any goal. Like when you set your GPS, it says your location. Is that where you want to start this map quest, or is there another way? You have to know where you are. And sometimes we don't think about the problems that are really in our marriage, because it really is it really is hard. It takes work. It's not something that's easy. How many of you have ever had a splinter go in your hand or your leg, your foot, whatever, and you get it out, but it breaks off, and you're like, oh, I just can't get it, and you're like, you really don't want to dig at it, and so it heals over. That thing hurts every time you touch it. It just hurts. It's a soft, tender, like you just cannot press on it. And then all of a sudden, one day, you look at your hand or your foot, and it is just red and inflamed and swollen. And that is such a picture of sometimes in our relationships, there are tender spots, and that's why you can't talk about certain things, because there's a tender spot. And you begin to talk about that conversation or that topic, and they're like, no, don't touch that. It hurts. But you know what? What do you have to do to get the splinter out? You got to dig it out.
Sometimes you got to open up that wound.
You have to faithfully open up the wound. And the Bible even says, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. And I've always said, the anesthesia in those scenarios is love. Like, yeah, it hurts, but because you know they love you, you're willing to submit yourself to that surgery.
There was a time early on in marriage that we were arguing, fighting, and I had to stop. And I said to her, listen, I would never do anything to hurt you. Do you understand that? I would never say anything or do anything to intentionally hurt you.
It was like bulb moment for me. I don't know why.
Really? I said, honestly, I'm always trying to do things to help you, not to hurt you. And she kind of went, oh. It was an eye-opening moment. But if you do not really assess where you are and you can't have these conversations, this is what it turns into. It's called the Four Horsemen, or the Predictors of Divorce. This is by the Gottman Research Institute. They've studied thousands and thousands of couples over years and years and years. When you begin to speak with contempt to your spouse, you're criticizing, you begin stonewalling. You start putting this wall up. I can't have that conversation. I can't even go there. I could never bring that up with him. Oh, I couldn't bring that up to her. No, I can't go there again. Because I'm afraid they're going to go, oh, really? We're going to talk about this again? And you're like, all right, no, I'm sorry, forget it. And you start building walls, and I'm going to live in my own little prison, and I'm going to live in my bubble, and we'll be roommates. We'll live in the same house. And then you begin to speak critically or think critically. You act with contempt because you begin that seed of disdain for your spouse, and you become defensive. Every time they say something, well,
you shouldn't have done that to me. You made me. Why did you have to act that way? That's defensiveness. Well, I wouldn't do that if you didn't. You know?
Defensiveness is the first act of war. If one or both of you are continually being defensive,
shots fired.
You're not feeling safe. Our relationships should be the safest place in the world for us. If they are not safe, we have to evaluate why. What can we do to make them safe?
So in part 2, we're going to learn about different relationships, the cycle of relationships. And this is your blanks. We missed some other blanks, so if anyone wants anything to later. All relationships have this cycle. You have a little diagram on your paper. It's connection, conflict, and repair. And we have to learn to cycle through this. If we get stuck down in that valley of conflict, that's where the defensiveness, the criticisms, those 4 things that you just went through, the stonewalling, that's where they kind of all begin to really breed. They breed in that valley of conflict. But the more you get able to move through these things, the better your relationship will be, and the more you'll be able to stay in that connection mode. So what we're going to be doing is giving you tools to maintain that connection, but then realizing that's a cycle. You're going to go in and you're going to go out, but then we're also going to give you tools to help make repairs. So
she keeps talking about connection. All right, let me give you a quick scenario. I'm at work all day. She's home. She's busy. She's either counseling. She's talking to people. She's listening on her earbuds to a million different podcasts. She's learning. She's reading. She is amped up, ramped up. I come in and I'm like, whew, put my stuff down. what a day, and she's like, immediately, I gotta listen, and she starts talking to me, and she's amped up on all of this stuff that she's been learning and counseling and teaching, and she starts asking me and talking to me things about this and this, and I'm like, stop! There was no connection. We're married, but we didn't have that momentary connection where if I came in,
hey, how was your day?
hey, what's going on? Good. And you know, we
And I
could
wait.
sit and we can look at each other and we can get on the same energy level. And she goes, you know what? I got some stuff I'd like to bring up. Go ahead, I'm ready. That's a connection point. Something simple where it's the right time. You're eye-to-eye contact. You both are waiting for this information to come out so you can discuss it and digest it.
So you did get that, the blanks for the connect, conflict, repair, and then on the back page now he's going to...
All right? So, tools to maintain our connection. Begin to have a culture of gratitude in your home. Complaining and gratitude cannot coexist. I have heard couples in church, all I hear are complaints, maybe even sweet complaints, but they're complaints, as opposed to complimenting, being grateful, speaking positive words to each other. Because even revealing a problem in a way of a complaint, it brings some guilt, it brings shame, it brings hurt. You've not made a connection, and you're bringing this out, and all of a sudden, people tend to start putting up these walls, and then we wonder why we don't have these connections to be able to communicate. All right, number 2, begin consciously rewriting your brain.
We're going to get technical here for a minute.
Rewriting your brain. As I said, if you don't change, nothing is going to change. All right? There's a brain science called reticular activating neurons. Okay, everybody say that. Reticular activating neurons. That's where you're going to think about this week. Reticular activating neurons. It's just a great phrase to say. I love it. Reticular activating neurons. All right? This is the part of the brain that renews every morning. Interesting. Every morning this renews. Our brain grows new baby neurons when we sleep. Our brain looks for what we have told it to find. If you're going to wake up and go, here we go again, we had a flight last night, or she's going to do this, or he's going to do that, if you look for those things, you're going to find it. But if you go in with the attitude of gratitude, you begin to see these things. That's why when we go to bed, we should have the Word of God as one of the last things. Read one verse. Meditate, read that verse 3-4 times, then go to bed. Let that be your last thought. Let it be your waking thought. Wake up and review the promises that God has for you. You are a child of God. You are a prince. You are a princess of the King of the universe. Begin to live like it. Start your day with that. Look for those things that you can be grateful for. Look for those blessings of God instead of the complaining.
So I'm going to give you a few ideas.
Ironically, science there has finally caught up with the Bible. Proverbs 23:7. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he.
So we need to begin exercising the muscle of appreciating that person and who they are, and not just what they've done. Hon, thanks for taking out the garbage. How about, honey, that was very kind of you. It's a fruit of the Spirit, kindness. When we begin to try and see the core of who our spouse is, not just what they've done, but who they are and what makes them who they are, it kind of does help rewrite and reframe our thinking. So some takeaways that we wanted to suggest, some little tools that you can add into your toolbox for this workshop that we're having today. What about taking advantage of technology and begin texting gratitudes to your spouse each day? Just as the day rolls through, something pops into your mind because you're looking for things to be grateful for. You're rewriting your brain. You're activating those new baby neurons to look for something that will serve you well as opposed to tear you down. And you begin to text your spouse, you know, I really appreciate whatever it is that you can seriously and sincerely appreciate them for. It is as much for the person sending the text as it is for the person receiving the text.
This is not a place for sarcasm.
No, genuine.
Just being genuine.
Yeah. Begin rehearsing, either verbally or in writing, things in your marriage together that you are grateful for. So the last 29 days of prompts, even if you did only a few of them, they really did help you take advantage of the reticulating activating neurons. It caused you to think about something specific for your spouse that was in a positive light, not in a negative light. If you look for reasons to be stressed out and frustrated about your spouse, you will find them because you're looking for them. But if you look for reasons to be appreciative or to be grateful to your spouse, you will find them too. And what you look for increases. So looking for what is actually going to benefit your marriage is actually going to do much more help than to look for what is going to destroy your marriage.
So I believe it was on the 19th. It was the 19th. It wasn't 19th. Maybe it's the 17th, whatever. But I was in Proverbs, and I was reading something, and I just went, wow, that is so true. It's all true. A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband. I did. And I said, no, I just read this and realized how grateful I am that you are a virtuous woman. I don't deserve you. I am grateful for who you are. It really just struck me. You can pick out something out of Proverbs every day, and you want, again, speak to the person, not to what they did.
So the last thing that I wanted to that we wanted to suggest as maybe a takeaway is to start what we coined a pillow talk journal. Okay? So this is just a journal that you would have specifically designated for this one purpose. It would actually act as almost a barometer for you and your marriage. So you basically have a private journal that you keep somewhere private, in your bedroom on your pillow, or in your bathroom if you don't have a bathroom that's shared with the rest of the family. Somewhere where you know each of you will be at some point throughout the day. And you take turns, so I would do it one day, and then I would not write in it again until he wrote in it. And then after he wrote in it, I would read it, and then I could respond again. And what you would write in the journal is an attribute about them, not what they've done, but something about them. Use the fruit of the Spirit. How have you exhibited love, joy, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance to me or to others that I've observed? And you write in the journal, just 1 or 2 lines, I so appreciate how you were so loving to me the other day when I was really having appreciated you making me a cup of tea. Done. And then you leave it in the spot where then your spouse will find it. And then your spouse finds it, and they read that. And you've basically told them something that's going to make anybody feel good. Wouldn't you think that that would be building up your marriage? And then after you read that, you have the opportunity to write something yourself about your spouse.
Now, after you've read that about you, now you're looking for those attributes, those fruits of the Spirit that you can find in your spouse. And when you look for them, you realize, why do they do the things they do? Probably because they're doing it to help and they love. And address that aspect of it.
So I said it could kind of act like a barometer. Like if I wrote in the journal on Tuesday, I look on Wednesday, he didn't write. I look on Thursday, he didn't write. I look on Friday, he did not write. I'm writing about that cult. I'm sorry, but I wrote in the journal on Tuesday. I'm not noticing an entry by you. Is there a problem? Is there something I can talk to you about? Should I enter for you and then I can write my next one? No.
Sorry, I'm dying.
It's a barometer. And what we thought is, if it's like more than 3 days, you're either out of town or you're out of touch. If you're out of town, okay, we'll give you a pass. But if it's been more than 3, maybe 4 days, if you've decided this is something that we have committed to do together as a couple, that's not her saying, honey, we're going to do this. No, that's not an agreement between the both of you. One of you can't decide, to start a journal, a pillow talk journal. You both have to be in on it, okay? So when you're both buying into this tool that you can use, then you've made a commitment. You set your time frame, once a week, whatever you set it. I would think a couple days, 3 days.
And you are not allowed
max.
to use this as power or leverage over them. Well, I'm not going to write it for 3 days because she ticked me off.
That's called stonewalling.
That's sin. That's sin. Don't use leverage over your spouse like that. Okay? Simply, listen, I'm grateful for the patience that you showed with the kids today. I was watching you, and it shows you really care.
One could be, I so appreciate your soft answer to me when I was in a bad mood yesterday. It was very comforting and calming to me.
It was one that I took out of my own journal. I'm busy, ready, I'm taking off for work, and I'm like, all right, honey, I'm going to go now. She goes, wait. And she was on her phone, she was texting with someone, setting up her
He was
appointment.
very respectful. He didn't want to interrupt me.
I said, okay, I'm going to go. She said, no, wait, come back. She come up the stairs. She was, give me a kiss. Thanks. I said, that shows you do care. She wants to have that connection before I leave. Because a lot is going to happen during the day. We don't know if I'll make it home that night. Take advantage of these little moments.
So we left some blanks, like if any of these resonate with you, write them in your sheet there to take home. So now we're going to go to tools to make, those were tools for connection. Now we're going to go for some tools to help make repairs, because we know conflict is going to happen in our marriage. So if you have tools to make repairs, like our honeymooning children needed to replace the battery in their car and didn't have tools on their honeymoon, so they had to flag down a worker truck. But we don't want you guys to be in that position. We have to flag someone down. So some tools to make repair. Number one, ways to initiate. When it's a parent, like if we're having a conversation and I realize either I'm not regulated, I'm going off the rails, I can literally stop and say, can we have a do-over? I realize I've already answered you wrong. I've already been sharp. I need to stop this conversation. We need to start again. So if I recognize it, I could, if he does that to me, if he starts a conversation and he gets ramped up and I'm feeling, I could just simply say, ouch. Like, ooh, that kind of was not nice.
She's done that before. You realize what a powerful word that is. Just going, ouch. The way you responded to me, what you said, it hurt me. All you have to say is, ouch.
And these really only work if you haven't already volleyed back and forth a little bit. If you've kind of both already shots fired, then someone needs to apologize. You can't just say, oh, we're going to stop and have a do-over.
And who is going to be the bigger person and say, you know what, let's stop where we are. I've said some things I shouldn't have, and I'm sorry.
Like Aaron said, I want to be the person to apologize.
And I know those words hurt you, and I don't ever want to do things to you. I'm sorry. Can we just start this over? There's no shame in that. That's actually called glory. You're being godly. To stop when you're going down this path and redo it.
The blade is coming up.
All right. So to be considerate to your spouse and learn when to approach them with a repair or an unburdening. So a repair is, listen, we need to talk about this. This is something that I just did, it happened to me, whatever. I want you to just be able to listen and hear me, okay? I want to unburden also the things that are on my chest. Sometimes I say, listen, we need to talk. So some things happened yesterday. You know what, when you said this, I felt such and such. Now again, you can never blame anyone how they feel. That's whatever information, whatever has happened, that's what is triggered in the brain, what is then processed in their heart, and then a feeling, emotion comes from that. So you can't blame people. But you have to be able to communicate like that and just say, all right, is this a good time that we can talk about something? No, You know what, give me 5 minutes, let me finish this.
We have a little group quiz that you guys can tell us if this is a good time or a bad time. We're going to run through just a couple scenarios, so as part of our little workshop.
All right, so your son Johnny, you're watching him play out in the playground in the backyard. He's having a great time. And, oh, he just fell off and landed on his head. And she runs right out there, and you run out after her, and you go, oh, and she's picking up Johnny. He's screaming, crying. Is this a good time to go? You know, you seem like you can show compassion to him, but you never show compassion to me when I'm sick.
Good time or bad time? Bad time.
That's probably a pretty bad time. And you're going, well, you can do it for them, but you can't do it for me. Bad time.
All right, so if you're both home from work, dinner is done, and you clean the kitchen together, there's been something you've been wanting to talk to your husband about. Good time or bad time? Good time.
Good time. You're both getting on the same level.
Yeah.
You're at Thanksgiving with extended family, and your mother-in-law is once again openly complaining about you, that you feel your spouse has not supported you.
Good time or bad time? Oh, come on, but it would be so fun.
And you throw the daggers over, and you're like, really? You're gonna leave me out here to dry? And then you storm out of the room. Bad time.
All right, so when you're making a repair, there are some tools that you can use when you're the one that's listening. So if your spouse comes to you, says, I really need to have a conversation, I need to unburden about something, or I need to go over something that happened, some questions, some situations, you don't need to say a thing.
And make it clear, I would like you just to listen.
Yeah, I go to him.
And then you can give me an answer later, but I don't want an answer now.
But some things you could say, if they're seeming like they're kind of at a stop, or they're not continuing in the conversation, is there anything else? Is there anything else that you wanted to share with me right now?
Could you explain more about how you're feeling? Tell me more about that. Help me understand.
Help me understand.
Go ahead. All right. So,
I'm done.
Okay. All right, number 4. Taking accountability for your part in the conflict.
This is huge
if you
for
are
repair.
Part of a relationship and there is some conflict, you have some responsibility. Even if it's 1%, you have to be accountable for your part in the conflict. As soon as you can, recognize it and say, you know what, I get it, I messed up. Let me start over. 1% is still a percent in that. All right. All right. Did you know, everyone knows about the 5 love languages, right? Do not write that down. Aha, I saw you, Darren. All right. We have the 5 love languages. How about the 5 apology languages?
How many of you have ever heard of that? It's another book written by Gary Chapman.
Game changer.
It's
for
beautiful.
us.
So, I'm gonna go through the different ways people may prefer to receive an apology.
And you need to have this conversation. How would you like me to apologize? What is it that you need to hear from me?
So the first one is you need to actually express regret for your partner to feel like you're actually sorry. And we're going to use the same scenario, but just a different verbiage. So, I never should have spoken to you that way. I'm sorry, you show regret. Accepting responsibility. The way I spoke to you was completely my fault. I'm sorry. Making restitution. What I said to you was not true, and you did not deserve that. You're resolving, you're reinstating them. I'm sorry. Requesting forgiveness. Please forgive me. I was wrong in how I spoke to you. And then planning change. I'm sorry, and I commit to not speak like that to you again. Some people say a flippant apology, and the other person is like, you think I'm going to take that? That's like, this isn't an apology.
Sorry.
If you didn't do that, I wouldn't have had to act that way. Really? That is not an apology. Learn to become accountable with what you've done, get really clear, and sincerely try to repair. Make that repair. There's a quiz online, I'm sure. What is my language of apology? little quiz, go through it, and then find out how to really speak to your spouse in a way that they believe you and that they feel, okay, we can move forward. They take a deep breath, their shoulders go down. You can see them actually receiving that attempt to make the repair after the conflict. It is a game changer.
All right, so you've got these
plans.
plans for personal action plans. This is going to be your homework to go through these parts because I'm sure something is going to resonate with you. Part 3, true intimacy is about knowing and being fully known. There's this great contemporary Christian song about that. God knows me completely and He still loves me. That's marriage. To be completely known and still to be loved. That intimacy into me to see. Being vulnerable, feeling safe, connected, and loved. There were times where I had to say, I would like to share this with you. I am not asking for an answer, but I want you to understand how men think. This will blow your mind, but I'm just telling you. And I would share how men think, and she went, gross. No. Really? Why would... No answer. Let them process. I had to become vulnerable. I had to open up for a possible attack, but I trusted her enough where I can do that. So now we can have these conversations and feel safe in that. So the evolution of maps. We used to have the big atlas. We had the personal, coordinated maps that we would open up. Now, many of you don't even remember that. You're too young for it. We had triptychs. How many remember the AAA triptychs? You flip the page, now you're going through Kentucky, flip another page.
Flip 2 pages and you're lost.
Yeah, Ohio. We had the Garmin, we use Waze now, we use Map, we've got MapQuest, and they all have to be updated. There are times where we're traveling and we're like, well, this is the expressway, and I'm like, recalculating, and it shows us like driving in the woods. I'm like, you don't know there's a new road here? Because like we're driving on it, and it shows us that there's no road there. Well, it was not updated. Our lives get updated. Our own personal maps. Your spouse has a personal, intimate map that is constantly changing and updating. Your spouse
Here's some blanks, man.
has an intimate map that is constantly changing and updating. The growth of children, they go from one grade to another. The child something happens in school. These are all different stress points. Things change. You're in a different part of your marriage. All of these things we have to continue to update.
There's been times in our marriage where I will have realized I needed to make some major changes in how I responded to him. Learning to be a good passenger. Different things. And then I would do something and he would respond to me like I had done something the way I used to do it.
Like last week.
And I used to get angry. I'm like, don't you see I'm not doing that anymore? Why are you acting like a jerk? Like,
She wouldn't say those words. She would never say those words.
They were in my head.
As long as they don't come out.
So we both come to realize that sometimes I have to say to him, hon, I realize that I used to do this, and I'm really working hard not to do that anymore. And I think that's something that you need to start looking for me to do it this way now. And react and respond differently now as a result of doing some work and trying to change a lot of the things that used to be triggers between us and trying to change our dance from some crazy dance to a really beautiful, slow dance here. And it is something that I've realized that for me to get frustrated at him because he's not recognizing the changes that I've made, maybe I'm not informing him or I am not telling him, there's a map update. Maybe you could just download that new update and then we could get to where we want to go, right?
It's a do-over.
How many have red dots on your phone? Update required, update needed, all the different things. We have operating systems that they need updates. But some of us never do any work and never need the updates. So that's also something that we all need to recognize. We've all got to do the work. So I think we're going to conclude. Have you updated your relationship? Absolutely. Many marriages exist and survive, but they don't thrive, and they're certainly not fulfilling. And a little bit of what we were hoping to share with you today was some tools some things to maybe just take 1 or 2 takeaways, to go home and try some new things. Get curious. Get like little tools. There's a test that we give each other little quizzes all the time. There's one called primalquestion.com. If you want to kind of hear an amazing podcast and learn something about yourself, primalquestion.com. The Apology, take a quiz on your apology style. Master Your Marriage is a podcast that we listen to. We literally drove to Tennessee for 12 hours. We listened to podcasts, that particular podcast. We felt like we were on a marriage conference. We listened, we would pause it and stop. What do you think about that? That made me think of this. She just put into words what I have been trying to tell you for weeks, and I just didn't know how to say it, and she perfectly encapsulated it. Can we rewind that? Can you listen to that again? Because that's what I would want to say if I could. It's just amazing.
Sometimes it just gives you the words behind how you're feeling. You don't know how to express it, and they say it in a way and you go, yeah, what they just said. Let's go back, let's re-listen to that. That's what I was reading the other day when I was trying to say this, and they just put it in a way that's just so succinct. Okay, so let's quickly go through some of these things. All right, the process of becoming just roommates. That's where some marriages are at. That's never the goal, to just coexist in the house. And confession, we've been there at times. And I've said, I feel like I am absolutely all alone in this marriage. We're always with people, but I am crying out, I'm alone. And I just exist in this house with you. Because there's seasons you go through. And we had to learn how to use some of these tools. When there's distraction, disconnection, and disrespect.
Disrespect is huge for us, for you guys.
You become roommates in the same house, and that's not good.
So there's 3 C's of a fulfilling marriage: connection, change, and creativity.
Remember, every day is a new day to reinvent who God wants you to be. Not who you were, not even who people think you are, but who you believe God wants you to be. And then the things I can control, my attitude. To have an attitude of gratitude. I can control my actions, and I can control my aspirations. What is it that I want out of this marriage? How can I make this the best marriage? Because any change is only going to happen when I do it with myself. I have to start changing first.
So, there you go. Some tips, tools, and tricks to master your marriage.
I'm just going to put a quick plug in for another marriage conference that we are headed down to December 4th through the 6th in Nashville, Tennessee. If anyone is interested, it's obviously on your own dime, but it's been a great marriage conference. You can see us after and we can tell you about it. Thank you, guys.
And if anyone wants to talk to us about anything, we are more than wanting to help anyone walk through some struggles in their marriage. We really do thank the Lord that He brought us back. And He's walked us through a lot of things, 36 years. It's been a wonderful thing. And I can honestly say He's my best friend, and I would have not always said that. So we are more than glad to meet with anyone anytime.
Great job, guys. So, just a couple of quick reminders that on your, have a yellow light. Maybe that's better. All right. On your table there, you have the blue Couples Connection card there. That's your challenge for next month, to do that every day. Actually, Dan and Jan they came up with a system where they put it in. I think it's through delayed text or something like that. So every day they would get a text and they would remember to talk about that question together each day of the month. So the challenge exists for you. If you can, I think it's 28 days before the next Couples Connection in November, and if you can do that, you get a gift card. It'll be like, you get a gift card, you get a gift card, you get a gift card. And hopefully we'll have tons of people that invested in their marriage every single day between now and then, okay? And as you go out the door, there's the little circle table there. There's a sheet there that says sign up for desserts. So if you're planning to come in November and
and you could sign up to bring a dessert for next time. Sign up on that sheet, please. It's right next to the babysitter donation. It's a babysitter donation. It's not, we're not paying you to sign up to bring desserts. So don't take money out when you're signing up, all right? Okay, next month, Vinny Tumia, Pastor Vinny Tumia. I tried to get Vinny and Kelly to do it, but I asked Vinny about it. He said, what are you trying to get me killed? Like, Kelly hates to stand in front of people, so it's Pastor Vinny Tumia next month, but he's going to be talking about preparing for the future in our marriages going forward. That's going to be exciting. And so just thank you, everybody, for being here tonight, and have a great night.